Let me tell you how I caused a riot at preschool when I was only 3 years old. Crying kids, panicking teachers, and they thought their plan at the end would fix it. You just hold on tight. I was 3 years old, I was in preschool. My preschool would have this gigantic playground and this specific pretty huge sandbox. This is gonna be relevant. Every once in a while we would get new toys for the playground or for the sandbox, and they would introduce them to us like, here's your new stuff, and we would, play with it like kids normally do. But there was one kid who wasn't that normal. It was me. So this one day we got this sea star sand shapey thing. You know, one of those toys that you have in the sandbox that you fill up with sand and then you like smash them down on the sandbox, you take it off and it has the shape of the thing, like shells, seahorses, blah blah blah. We had gotten one of those in the shape of a sea star with a face on it. It was actually a really creepy face, like, but I was instantly like, this giant red sea star thing is super cool. So I did something not many kids would actually do. I accidentally gave it to personalized marketing. What I mean with this is that I thought of a whole story around it and I gave the object a personality and a name and blah blah blah. Basically a lot of things that I now learned for marketing, I did in terms of my playing and my fantasy. So I told everyone, guys, this is the new best toy there is. Because of the face and everything, this is called Stella. The reason was because the Dutch word for star is ster. So ster, stel, Stella, blah blah blah. In my head it totally makes sense. So I said to everyone, this is Stella. It's a living sea star toy, but it has like mad superpowers. And everyone was like, oh, because kids like to play pretend with me. They were like, what kind of superpowers does it have, Quentin? Because I was always the one coming up with the games, coming up with the storylines for everything. And I was like, well, if you hold it like this, by the pointy sea star things, and you concentrate, it shoots like a super strong laser beam out of its center. And it's like the most powerful laser beam there is, and there's nothing else of the toys or any other magic or whatever that can stop it. And everyone was like, oh my god, really? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So every day when it was a break, I would run to the box of toys and I was like, yes, I got Stella. And at some point people were like, hey, you know what? I want Stella. Like, it wasn't even called the sea star toy or whatever anymore. Everyone in the whole class called it the Stella. So at some point I got competition. When I went over to the toy box, someone else was like, I actually got the Stella first. And I was like, dang it. Okay, you know what? Let's play with the Stella together. All right, at first it was all very peaceful, very normal. But then more and more people wanted to get their hands on Stella to play with during the break. That's the thing, it wasn't actually even used anymore to make something out of sand. Everyone was only running around the playground like pew, 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 pew. Because when I said that it was like the most powerful thing ever, holding it sort of like automatically dubbed you the most powerful kid on the playground, which everyone wanted to be. So like I said, more and more people wanted to have the Stella, and at some point it actually grew out until the whole class wanted to get their hands on the Stella. Now what happens when a whole class of like 20 to 30 3-year-olds want the exact same toy at the same time? Exactly. We would get signaled that the break began. We would all run outside, dive into the box of toys and be like, I got the Stella, no, I got the Stella, Everyone was like, at first it was the first one that got the Stella. Maybe people played together, the one that had it. Everyone wanted to play with that kid because they had the Stella, like, oh my god. At some point, people were just like, no, you're not having the Stella. I'm having it! Until one day, everyone started fighting over the Stella. Literal fighting. People, like kids, can be pretty aggressive. They pushed each other. There were kids crying, pushed against a wall. Kids were falling on the ground crying. Kids were running around, tackling each other, grabbing the Stella out of each other's hands, pushing each other. Like, it was mad. It was madness. The whole 30 people on the playground, pushing, fighting, punching, everything. The thing was, I never really participated in those kinds of fight thingies because I was always very neat in sense of not fighting and whatever. So I would just run with them like, oh, that person has the Stella now. Oh, that person has the Stella now. So I was like totally just supervising the whole gigantic chaos that I had accidentally created. So the teachers were like, you know what? We can definitely fix this. We are the teachers, the adults. So they tried to stop it every break, but if you have 3 teachers and 30 crazy children, it's pretty difficult. So at some point they were like, you know what? No one can have the Stella anymore. And the kids didn't take it very well. Everyone started to get really angry at the teachers, like, what? You can't take the Stella? Stella is the best thing about the whole break? Everything? No! How dare you? Everyone got insane. Again, because every break there was the same kind of riot for a whole week long, until the teachers were like, you know what, we're buying a second one of those. So they bought a second sea star thing. It was actually totally different, and they were like, you know what, look guys, we have a second Stella now, but it didn't have a face, it was different. And I was like, and the teachers were more like, Quinta, don't you dare, and I was like, yeah, no, that is not like Stella actually. And they were like, Quinta, no. And I was like, we can call it like a sup Stella, alright? And everyone was like, oh, what do you mean, Quince? And I was like, well, it clearly doesn't have a face or is like the original, so its superpowers are like really weakened. It's still like super powerful, but it's not as powerful as the original Stella. And all the kids were totally like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And the teachers were like, Quince, we hate you so much. But, you know, 2 of those for 30 people. This is really annoying. 2 of those things for 30 kids, still not enough. So there were more and more fights until they were suddenly like, you know what? Because every day they would assign 2 class helpers. Class helpers would sit next to the teacher and they'd be like, hey, how about you give everyone a piece of paper, get people's drawings and put them on the stack, stuff like that. You know what? You were really just the helper by the teacher for the day. But because there were always 2 teachers helpers, they were like, you know what? Every day when you're a teacher's helper, you get Stella during the break. One of them. And the kids were like, oh, you know what? That actually is fair. And I was like, okay, all right. But that's the thing. Everyone always wanted to be class helper. But, you know, yeah, I can help. We can help Miss blah blah blah, or we can have we can help in class. We'll be so cool. But now every time it was more like, you're a class helper. You get to pick up the thing. So I get Stella? Yeah, you do. That was the only thing the kids cared about until like all the way I was out of preschool. It was so hyped all the time that was the only thing people would love to play with most, despite not actually using what it was made for, because I believe it only touched the sandbox like 3 times. But it sure shot a lot of laser beams. Whoa! So what do you think? Tell me down below in the comments. Has something crazy like this ever happened to you during your time in preschool? And if you're new here, I would love if you subscribe to this channel. I post a story to get to know each other a little bit better like this here on Saturday. And on Wednesday, I post a comedy video solely to entertain you. All of that because I want to light up your day and make you smile, because comedy is the best thing when things are negative. Yeah. But above all, I really hope you liked this video and I would love to see you next time.